I'm going to bring out somebody I feel like I haven't had here in a little minute. And I am so happy that he made his way over to the Struggle Reviews TV. D Movie Man, how are you feeling about Lady in the Lake?
Yes. It's always a good time over in the world of the struggle. So thank you so much for having me. I'm telling you, I'm really digging it so far. Because you were the one who put me onto this, and I didn't really know what to expect. And even when I read the synopsis, I was like, I'm wondering like what this is going to give. And I'll just say thus far, I've been shocked and like pleasantly surprised, but also just like ready for more at the same time. It's really delivered in a way I wasn't expecting.
Absolutely. And when I saw the trailer and I saw the actual show, I was like, oh, this is black.
Right.
Oh, this is black. My peeps in the back was not lying. This is black. Ashley with the sweet perspective. When I said, how is it going over there with Lady in the Lake? It's like, oh, girl, it's black. It's black. I was like, it's black, Ashley. She said it was black.
Black. And I'm here for it. It's so rare. And shout out to Alma Harrell, who directed, co-wrote the screenplay for this, because it's very challenging sometimes for some of our clear counterparts to capture us appropriately and give us depth as characters, right? And make us believable. And so shout out to her and her team for capturing Blackness and showing us in all of our beauty and even in some of the struggle. I thought these first two episodes were captivating. I was on the edge of my seat. I need to know more. And again, very noir, very mysterious. Like I'm here for all of it. Here for all of it.
Damn. Next person I'm going to bring out, I don't know if she's here for all of it, but I can't wait to hear what she has to say, because she's always coming through with them king opinions. Nikki, how are you feeling about this show?
Yeah, I gotta completely agree with Ashley. I'm so sorry. I think the characters have about as much depth as those fish tanks. I'm gonna be like, I no. But hey, that's just me.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I cannot wait, because you're gonna have to elaborate on that. I thought the character writing was like really extraordinary, especially by our two leads. Okay? What about Natalie Portman and Moses Ingram? They have depth, right?
Next question.
Oh Lord! Last but not least, Kay in the backs with them books, because she is reading all of them. Kay, how are you feeling about Lady in the Lake?
When I first seen the trailers and stuff for this series, and plus I trust Apple TV. I've watched a lot of good stuff. So I said, let me go and download the Audible to get the book. Because sometimes I got to see what the books say. But after watching the first two episodes, I don't know if I want to spoil it for myself. Like, I don't know yet if I want to know what's happening or if I want to see it in real time. So maybe in the next few episodes, I'll see how if it gets too suspenseful, I'm gonna just go ahead and get to the book.
I don't know, ma'am. You saw when you put that in the chat, like I got the audio. I was like, I ain't say nothing. Like, don't tell me that. I don't want no parts of that book. I want to follow the show solo dolo as it comes and be surprised at everybody else. But just to spend just a couple moments on Alma Harrell, girl. I almost went sis. Like, girl, she did so good. Certain stuff we watch, and that's probably us being stereotypical, the way that we critique film. It's like, oh, it's a brother behind the camera, it's a sister behind the camera. I was like, oh no, it's a Alma behind the camera, and she is doing what needs to be done. I also like the fact that not only was this based on a book, but this is based on real life events of Esther Lipowitz and Shirley Parker. And just tying that in, I feel like this show was surreal. It was artistic. It was grounded, mysterious, and black. I'm mesmerized. I'm loving everything it has, and I'm kind of a little shocked that it's a mini series. Like, this is something I would come back to, and something I feel like could unfold with a season or two. Honestly, D, what about you?
No, I was definitely surprised learning about the influence with Alma Harrell and her being, Israeli American, and just what her experience has been thus far, and then how that's translated into this. Now, when I look at the direction thus far, and even some of the images that I've seen in the trailer, I get where, because she has like some influences with surrealism, and I can definitely see already how we're getting that, and that's going to continue to, to make its way through the rest of the series. But I think she has a really great eye for this, and I think this might end up being one of those situations. Although I'm a huge book reader myself, and most times, the medium of books definitely will always hit a little bit harder than any adaptation. But this might be one where they might be fleshing things out in a way that, at the very least, services the book and kind of honors it in a different type of way.
Absolutely. Nikki, I'm gonna come to you because you said the characters were a little shallow. What about the cinematography and the imagery on the show? Were you here for that?
Yeah, I think the movie looks good. I felt the opposite of you. I knew immediately it was a white person behind it, because I feel like it's a lot of stereotypes in the show, and I just knew it was a white person behind it. But yeah, I think visually that everything looks great, and even everything that the show is saying with just the imagery, as far as Maddie's like fever dreams and things that she has, all of that stuff works great.
Did you feel any horror within your? Were you getting any horror tease of what could come?
Did I get a horror tease?
Yeah.
What's a horror tease?
You know what? I feel like with a lot of the imagery, especially that we just see simply in that first trailer, this is treading, that thriller horror lane. Like I feel like
you said horror. I thought you said horror.
No,
that's why I was like, what is a horror tease? Okay, horror tease. Okay. Yeah, I definitely get like thriller, mystery, horror vibes. I'm sorry to all the horror. I thought you said horror tease, but yes, I definitely get a little bit of that in some of the undertones. Yes.
Yes, horror tease. Give a little shoulder, take it right back. Horror tease. Kay, what about you? How did you feel Alma did with the show and the depiction here? How are you feeling about it?
She really took us there. I like the tone and the environment. It's very like dimly lit. It's like it's like you can feel something going on. Although it's like everybody is walking around trying to live their normal life, but there's this thing that's going on in addition to all of their regular life problems. And I just want to get into some of these little side stories, these little tidbits that she's giving us. I really want to know what all of those are about. So I love the camera work in this and how she is telling the stories of two people at one time, but it's not too flip-floppy to where it's like I'm getting lost.
Yeah, not at all. I'm following heavily. I'm paying close attention. Ashley?
Yeah, sometimes it can be challenging because at moments this does feel like an art house piece. But I love how it's still grounded in reality. I think there's a delicate balance, but you know how I feel about it. It's beautifully shot. I still think the characters do have depth, and we'll get into it, of course. But I think she kind of captured the essence of the time, right? And also the parallels between them, and that can be challenging as well, because how do I tell two separate stories of these women whose lives should be parallel, but it's literally divided along the color line? I think it's important messaging, but of course we'll get into it. I don't have enough good things to say about it.
I love it, child. I love those little surreal moments. It's giving me Stepford Wives, Don't Worry, Darling. All that does is tell me Maddie not wrapped too tight. She's not all there. She's not all there, and she is hiding something. And I cannot wait until we find out what it is. But getting into episode 1, because this I love the way that this didn't even feel like, I was like, that's it. I felt like I was sitting for, how you would feel empty after an episode of Insecure, and it's like I just sat down and Insecure is over. This did not feel like an hour to me at all. Who killed Cleo and Tessie? Lost innocence and the usual suspects. Bouncer and boxer Reggie is placed at both scenes, as well as the obscure fish store worker. They want us to think it's these two right here so bad. They want us to think it's these two right here so bad, in my opinion. We do open with, Cleo's narration. Really like low-key checking Maddie. Like, why did you have to drag my name through the mud to make one for yourself? And we also have Reggie dropping what looks to be Cleo in that lake. And he's also present at the store when we get into the little girl Tessie. What I loved about that intro, besides just how beautiful it was in the parade, was the mother telling her, like, girl, Santa Claus ain't real. None of that is real. Like, it's just like she's just taking all the innocence like completely away from the child. Like, you're getting older, it's not real. And just like right in that moment, her true innocence is taken, and of course she is killed. But Kay, I'm going to come to you. Were you even maybe thinking just a little bit that our men here are doing the deeds as far as killing Cleo and Tessie, or do you think that there are some things afoot?
I watch way too many horror movies. So what I think is that there are multiple killers here. I don't think it's just one. I think some of these might be. Of course, there's the serial killer that's there, but I also feel like something might be an isolated incident and got washed into that. So I actually want to see what that is. So it could be one of them, but it's somebody else too.
I don't think so. I think everybody's like intertwined and connected, but I think they want the fingers to be pointed at these two for a reason, and it's not them. It's like these are the usual suspects that you would think, the random, you're gonna go for the black guy or somebody who is clearly like something mentally is going on with I don't know what exactly. It's like, yeah, these are the usual people we would round up. I don't think it's them. D, what about you?
Yeah, no, you basically said what I was thinking. Yeah, it's just like it's very evident and it's very obvious. And I think that at least for me, and it's hard because I think trailers draw you in, but then sometimes you find out some things ahead of time. So I will say, at least for me, Tessie's interaction in the fish store and all that, it seemed so innocuous at first, ironically enough. And I didn't realize that because I thought it was mainly about kind of us heading towards Cleo's demise, but I didn't realize there was another situation like intertwined with it like this. So it was shocking seeing that play out the way it did. But I agree, it's like it's too there may be some kind of connection somewhere, and there also is this seedy underbelly, underworld of things that are going on. So I know if it's not them, there's still some kind of twist or connection to them in some type of way, in a way that we probably wouldn't expect.
What about you, Ashley? Because I want to know if you think these two are tied, or do you think either one of these men have something really to do with it, or they, scot-free? And do you feel like, because I feel like they're connecting these stories to show just how much play and press Tessie's death is getting. So when it's Cleo's turn, I don't think, we're not going to hear about Cleo. There's not going to be any search parties out looking for Cleo, and it's going to just show that just position. What about you, Ashley?
Yeah, Reggie is in the wrong place at the wrong time, but he's also very diabolical. I see that about him, right? He's got a mean streak, something about him I absolutely don't like. But I do feel like if it was either of these two that actually committed the crimes, it'd be too on the nose, right? Because first episode opening scene, we see Reggie dumping. So he's working for someone, he's a procurer. He may have a hand in some of this, but he is not the one doing the deed. As far as the fish shop guy, this one threw me for a loop. Because when Tessie goes in there, their first interaction is somewhat normal. He was a little odd, right? But no, baby, you come back with your mommy, right? And then later on, we see him having like these feelings of guilt, whatever. And Busted Eye Reggie is just watching the whole time. So, I honestly think early prediction, Maddie got something to do with both of these situations. She's unhinged. There is a deep, dark secret that's just below the surface with her. I don't know if she mad about that Durst man not wanting her. I don't know if she wants more attention, right? With Cleo, maybe she smelled her perfume on that dress and said, I'm going to come back and get her. Maddie is involved in some of this mess one way or another.
Oh, wow. Nikki?
Yeah, the show definitely places race and class at the forefront. So I definitely think they're going to show the difference in how Tessie's abduction is handled versus Cleo's. But I do agree that I don't think it is either of our suspects right now. It would be way too obvious. I don't think they would just throw it in our face like that. I think it's going to be more of a mystery. I do think that it's tied to Maddie. As far as Tessie and the murders, and I do think it's more than one killer. I don't think Maddie is the killer, but the fact that we jump back to the high school boyfriend, the dad was giving me creeper vibes. He had that painting of the naked girl in the river. And then they show us some flashes of her where it looks like Maddie is in a prom dress or something, and there's blood. And I think it's something up with the dad of her high school boyfriend. I think there's something around there, but I think we haven't met the killer yet. Reggie is definitely giving me unscrupulous vibes, but he doesn't give me child murderer. Like, he's not giving me child killer at all. I do think it's different people that killed Chloe versus Tessie. I don't think it's the same person.
Now Reggie he needs to put a cold steak on that eye, baby. How long is it gonna take that? I don't want to go into episode 3 and Reggie eye still closed. Oh, open it up. Open it up. Oh man. But yeah, speaking of that, who's this? Now, going back on my second watch, I did listen to the mother saying, Santa isn't real. Santa is Mary's fat father. And then we pan over to him in the parade, and then we have this quick flash here, and we never go back here. But I am to assume, I was like, I really can't tell, but I'm going to assume that's supposed to be Tessie there on the floor. Did anybody take anything away from this? Nikki, did you take anything away from this?
Yeah, I was confused because Jewish people don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah,
what was this? I didn't know
too. Well, I know the parade was in general, but I know that Tessie, she was just trying to see, like, how can I get some praise? Like, what if I go to Mary's house? They celebrate Christmas. Would they know I'm Jewish over there at Mary's house? Because I'm just trying to give me some Christmas presents. But no, they're telling she wanted to celebrate Christmas, but I just didn't understand. I want to know what this means.
Yeah, some of the imagery I felt like they were putting out with the flashes, and like I call them like these little fever dreams. I guess they belong to Maddie when they flash all this stuff. Honestly, it was a bit visually convoluted for me because, like you said, like this in particular felt a little out of place. I'm just kind of like, I didn't understand what they were trying to convey to the audience with this, and the fact that I'm pretty sure maybe they'll come back to it, but I was just kind of like, what's kind of the purpose of this? And even with the mother saying to the daughter, Santa Claus isn't real, is that going to lead to something? Is there some purpose to that? But I feel like when you're watching a mystery, at least me, sometimes I kind of hang on to everything people say because I feel like, are we going to come back to this? Is this going to do? So I might be reading too much into it, but I'm definitely feeling like it's going to come back. I'm just not sure how.
I think it should, because she's, the whole time she just went into the store because she wants to see her. So it's this, she's been traumatized so much that she's just envisioning what she wanted Santa Claus to bring her, and it's actually somebody else sitting there. I don't know. D, what you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say it threw me at first, but kind of circling back around. To me, I think, and of course, so much of this is based around surrealism and surrealistic imagery. But to me, I think this might have been a disassociation type of thing where there is something really horrible, obviously, happening, and she's in the midst of this very traumatic experience. And so what I'm guessing at this point, her mind or emotions or whatever, she's pointing to something that can give her some sense of comfort. And that would be, what she was like with the seahorse and with Santa and like that image. And like, as was said, like that could be replacing who's actually there in the chair, or it could be her projecting that entire thing. But I took it more so as like, that is, because I think this disassociation is kind of a survival thing, a survival method, or just something that people revert to in situations like that. So for me, that's what I took away from it. And then it was our way of showing like, okay, this innocuous situation is now devolved into something much darker.
All right, Ashley, because don't threaten me with a good time. I'm gonna catch it. Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, that was like the culmination of everything that she had wanted that day, right? I want Santa and I want my seahorse, right? So I can imagine if the unthinkable was happening, that's the place that you would go. On the first run, I was like, oh man, the Santa from the parade, he done got the baby. But then after thinking about it, I'm like, he ain't there. He's not there. That's not him. That's her hoping and wishing and praying for better times. I do think the dynamic between Tessie and her mama was interesting, because that's a bit callous. I know the baby's Jewish, and but to me, you would empathize with your child in wanting a Christmas. And I don't think in passing, I would tell her that all her hopes and dreams were wrong in that moment. And I think that's probably going to speak to some other things, and maybe even how mom responded at the funeral, right? I mean, aside from losing your baby, you're overcome with emotion, but that's the last thing you told your child when you saw them alive. But yeah, Santa's not really there. That ain't Santa. Santa ain't do it.
Kay, is there a killer Santa in that audiobook?
I don't know. I almost got to it. I'm like, how far do I need to go to figure out who this is and what this is about? Because I'm look. Sometimes my suspense it get too much. I was thinking that this could be part of the side story, but with Maddie and being, she is a very complex character, simple but yet really complex, because I feel like she has a whole lot of secrets that she's hiding, and some of the things that they might be showing us that she's thinking is probably her disassociating, because I'm sure she done did some mess she's trying to distance herself from. That's why I think that there are multiple things going on here, because she is definitely not innocent. And I think when she goes to maybe these places in her mind is to try to make it seem like she's a good person.
Oh, no good white person. Let me go to the next slide. Next slide. Oh, Maddie, girl, you threw that on the ground when you said one of them Negroes stole your ring. Kosher meets in the dress off Chloe's back. I'm docking her pay. Luther had said that. I'm docking her pay. So close, yet worlds apart. Parallels between Maddie and Cleo. I thought this was really interesting. I do really love their first and probably only encounter before, Cleo's demise. I really love how they're going to get us like really invested in love Cleo, and then we already know that she's not going to make it. But I thought it was really significant that she wanted the dress off of Cleo's. Like, I want that one. It's like, well, we don't have anything else in stock. If you get it, it's the one she's wearing. Like, yeah, I want this. Like, I'm taking it just felt real. Like it rubbed me the wrong way that she did that, along with what we expect stereotypically from this type of era, and snatching the dress off of Cleo when I requested this time off, and yet and still I have to get my pay doc because you ain't know about it. Yeah, they're close, but they're far apart. Nikki, I'm gonna come to you first.
Oh Lord. Yeah, this scene plays a part in my dislike of the portrayal of the characters. Obviously we're in the 60s, but I just feel like all of the side by sides of Chloe and Maddie, and the race and class difference, like, I'm literally working in the window, you're shopping here, and not only shopping here, but they're kind of catering to you, and but a Negro is in a dress, and like I said, of course it's the times, but I just feel like the show in general so far is very heavy-handed with the Jewish characters' Jewishness and the Black characters' Blackness. And I could see if we saw different portrayals, but like all the Black characters are like gambling, working in this seedy underbelly. Even the Black politician with her like fake alliance and trying to act like she's doing stuff for the people, but I don't want this because of how to look. I just want to use Chloe in that moment. But I don't like Maddie. Oh Lord Jesus, I don't like Maddie for a mix of what we've seen and because of Chloe's voiceover, because it's giving opportunists, it's giving, you're taking other people's tragedy to kind of push yourself forward. And I don't see it as she's going to be championing this missing Black woman and no one cares, so let me step to. I think it's going to just be because she want to get back into Nancy Drew and being on the school newspaper, and she's going to use this to prepare herself because she's sick of cooking and putting stuff in the dairy dishes and chopping the meat and all. She don't want to be housewife. Her son disrespectful. She should have slapped the glass off the son's face. But oh man, I don't like the character. And then they had to have her sleep with my man Officer Platt, and it's just really giving lots and lots of stereotypes.
That's what I loved about it. I love that. That's what I love about it. We know Maddie's a trash person. We know that she is about to bring herself up, off the back of Cleo and off the back of, whoever else. Like, I love that she's a trash character, and I'm just invested to know just how trash she is and how far that's gonna go. Ashley?
Yeah, I mean, I was here for these initial moments. And what I really thought was kind of poignant, and it kept being repeated over and over again, because Maddie's not presenting as a Jewish woman, as what they believe in Baltimore in 1966 a Baltimore or a Jewish woman should look like, right? So they think she's just a standard WASP, I'm sure, in these moments. So she's actually accessed a higher level of privilege even then. But baby, down to the fashions, they were paralleled up into a certain point, up to the speaking engagement, down to the little chapeaus, honey. Their hats were aligned. They just were in two different shades of outfits. I loved that. I also loved how Maddie is completely unlikable. I couldn't stand Maddie once she opened her mouth at that Jewish auxiliary meeting where she's presenting the awards. I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. And I also liked how Cleo, even in the moment, they're stripping the outfit off of her, and she's like, oh my. I mean, that's what any of us would do in that moment. So I think they took time to give little relatable moments for Cleo, even there. And I like how it's on the nose. It was 1966 Baltimore, and that was someone's life at the time, right? And I stand Cleo and her narration, because she's checking Maddie every step of the way.
No, 1960. It's a Maddie down the street right now. It's a Maddie down the street right now. Well, we can't eat it now. It's in the wrong table. Well, that scene pissed me off. Maddie, the unappreciated, uninspired Jewish housewife. What's her connection to Tessie and her father? I never tried to do anything else. She was putting a lot on that Jewish accent, child. You better go off, Natalie. I've loved Natalie since The Professional. I love anytime she's acting anything. But we see not only the parallels of their life, but we, get a lot of dimension, and we see pretty much what Maddie just needs to run from, this lush housewife of a lifestyle, but she's unappreciated by anyone. Her husband, like, at first, I want to know what the big deal was, which I'm sure we'll get into later when we find out her connection to Tessie. But she just feels like nobody cares but me. We should be out with a search party. We should be doing something. Or even at this moment, I looked at Maddie sideways up there at the top when she is giving the award to the women at the Jewish event. And the first watch, I was like, oh, she's feeling down because we've made the announcement about Tessie. But watching it the second time, I was like, oh, he interrupted her speech. He took her shine and interrupted her speech. And I felt like she was more bothered by that than the announcement of them, searching for Tessie. The son down there, boy, backhand to the face, in the lip, in the car, because who are you talking to? But I love the parallels between the father and the son. He is literally a mini father. Like, he from the glasses to, the way he dresses, the way he acts. Like, you're a housewife, you're meant to, serve. Play your role. Like, he's completely disrespectful. And the husband is just feeling like, where did all this come from? We were just happy 5 minutes ago, and now you're leaving me. D, how did you feel about Maddie and just her whole life as a whole?
Yeah, Maddie is a lot of things. And yes, not many of them seem to be that positive. I have to say that I am definitely someone who appreciates unlikable characters, because although I am definitely here for a character you can really root for and champion and all that, I just find that unlikable characters have such an interesting dynamic to them, and then what we discover about the way that they think, the way that they see life, things that may have caused them to think and see life that way. So yeah, and I was surprised that, because I remember watching, I was just kind of like, because I'm a naturally empathetic person, I see little cracks here and there, and I see things, but I'm like, Maddie seems off-putting to me and strange, and my connection with her is very odd. Whereas with Cleo, it's just an immediate like, oh, Cleo. So yeah, I think the parallel and the comparisons are really interesting. But as far as like Maddie in her life, she's definitely a mess. I tried to find a better word, but she's really a mess. And but I think that's something that's interesting. And as we start to pull back those layers, that's also why I love what Cleo says in the beginning, because she basically reclaims the narrative, and she says, like, look, I understand you said no one cared until you came along, but the truth is you came at the end of my story and you made it your beginning. And so the fact that we're kind of seeing that play out, I'm like, I love that.
I do too. Okay.
See, now, look at this face. This is the same face I'll be telling y'all about that Natalie Portman be giving. That be getting on my nerves. She look like this in every movie. It be throwing me off. But I found it interesting that Maddie was trying to get some kind of outside validation from being this one person in journalism. She just wants to be somebody. And then Cleo got like 8 jobs just to survive. Every time we see her, she doing a whole other job, but at the same time, trying to figure out which one is going to be me. And they're both going about it within their own culture, within their own family structure, like trying to figure out who they are and try to make a name for themselves. And it wasn't working out for either one of them, because Cleo really wanted that job with the politician, didn't get it, so she hustling everywhere and whatnot. And Maddie, don't nobody want to pay attention to her, so she's just sad about it. So they're both equally trying to find their way, but we actually only invested in Cleo because she's trying to do the right thing. Maddie just shady.
We are. Let me show Cleo some love, y'all. We will be right back. I love the fact that we currently have 52 people here in this live. We appreciate you. Keep hitting that like button. Keep engaging. We would love to see 52 more.
What you doing? Where you at? Oh, you got plans. Don't you know, baby? Tell me.
Hey, okay. Yeah. I be back here living my best life. Like the dance break don't just be for y'all. It be for us back here in the back. We be back here cutting up. Cutting all the way up. But leaving Miss Maddie here and getting into Cleo, overworked and underpaid. Cleo, woman of many hats with no help. Get a job, Woody Jr. 2 sons and 1 Myrtle Summers using me. Now look at here, Woody Jr. over here. Like, for y'all who don't know who Woody is, Woody, the father in Crooklyn, who was all about his music and he wasn't making no money, wasn't putting no food on the table. And I need you to just write down the dates of when you hit up our accounts so we pay the bills, because the lights is off, Woody. The husband over here, I thought this was a little baby father. I was like, you the husband? Slappy is very much giving I guess like a Richard Pryor, him and his raunchy comedy. He can't, find steady work because he wants to go to these nightclubs and be a little distasteful with his jokes. But in the meantime, we are not making any money or having a legit job to help Cleo with anything. And then we have our sons. We have the oldest one out here kind of running numbers a little bit, stepping his foot out there to maybe latch on to the other less tasteful elements in that neighborhood. And then we have the other younger son. He is dealing with sickle cell. Then we got Myrtle Urkel over here, who was tripping. She was tripping. We have Myrtle Summers. I didn't notice until the second rewatch that Myrtle set her up to say that. I was like, oh, I wasn't paying attention. I was not paying attention. I assumed that Cleo stood up on her own accord because, it may not mean anything to you, but it means something to me. It was like, no, this was a whole publicity stunt that she, told her to go out there and do. I was like, oh, you was using my sis twice. You was using her way before she ever came back in episode 2. And then I just have the friend down there, Cora, because she was like, you gonna be singing up here for Myrtle. Like, she paying? If she ain't paying me nothing, I'm not doing any volunteer free labor for the likes of Myrtle Summers. But in Cleo's mind, this is, a stepping stone to get me where I need to be. Less job, more time with my boys, more money with my boys, and having a legitimate, positive job. Nikki, I'm gonna come to you.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk on the Maddie slide, so I'm just give a few Maddie thoughts and then lead into Cleo. But I feel like obviously they're showing us these 2 parallel lives and their differences in a lot of ways. But one big difference that really stood out to me is how crazy Maddie and frantic and this desperation Maddie had with, little Tessie is missing. I want to join the search party. And her husband and son were very cold-hearted. Like, they just ain't care at all. But I don't think it was genuine concern for, I mean, we already know Maddie is terrible, but I don't think it was genuine concern. I think Maddie wants to be a part of something, like she's not getting a certain fulfillment and she wants to be important. And then when we look at how Cleo is moving, she genuinely wants to do something for her community. Like, she genuinely cares about her like fellow man and the people around her. So I just thought that was another really interesting difference when we're looking at both of the ladies' lives. But Lord Jesus, I cannot work 5 jobs and my man is sitting at home writing jokes. Oh Lord Jesus, like I would have threw him out that window. It would not be going down. And then when I finally get you a job, I told you to leave that South. Like, these people coming in here to have a good time. I told you not to tell certain jokes and you did it anyway. Got my son out here running numbers and doing stuff that I said I didn't want him to do. But I kind of like how the show starts, so we know that Cleo is going to die, because I kind of feel more sad going through her life. Like, if she's dead, what about her kids? How is this going to affect the people around her? And even the good that she wanted to do for her community. Like, I don't know, just watching her life, knowing it's coming to an end, adds a bit of just sadness for me in watching her. And she just seems like, of course, I can't stand Maddie, but it's also because she's such a likable character to me that I'm like, man, throw Maddie in the river. Like, I'd rather Maddie get thrown in the river than I like Cleo.
Yeah, we all like Cleo. That's what I was saying. They're painting this picture real tough. So when we see the actual happening, we gonna feel that loss, even though we already know it's coming. Ashley?
Yeah, I'm gonna get into reading Congresswoman Summers, aka Veronica from the Haves and the Have-Nots. If you know, you know. Okay. However, I will say this, just for all of the confusion around the dish and why he was spazzing out. Apparently, they are in some form of orthodoxy, right? And so to keep a culture kitchen, you have to have dairy dishes, and then you have dishes like for your meat or whatever, and you can't cross-contaminate it because it makes it impure, right? So that was the whole big thing. And then that dry brisket, nobody wanted that.
Okay.
That brisket did look dry, Ashley.
And them potatoes with ain't nothing on them. She just chopped up some baked potatoes and set it on the plate. Girl, find something to do. And don't be mad. She said, F that kid, F that husband. But she ain't try to raise that little boy. That's all I want to say on her friend. We can go back to Cleo.
Why do you think she ain't try to raise the boy?
Ain't no child is just that outwardly disrespectful. It almost feels as though she's neglected him throughout his life. He has such a disdain for her. Like, even she could go, Dad. Apparently the father is the one who's really invested time with him. Maddie is in her self-deprecating, woe is me, I want attention, what can I do to make, you know what I mean, myself feel better. She definitely gives that. She's an opportunist, I believe, as Nikki said. She's just waiting on her moment. She wants to get back into her journalistic era so it can be about her. She wants it to be about her.
20 years later, get a life, Maddie.
Yeah. But as far as Cleo, I mean, I don't know what's going on. I appreciate the awareness brought to sickle cell in the last couple of shows, because we find out that her youngest son is suffering with that and in and out of a crisis. We also meet Teddy, which, if we're paralleling their lives, right, we both have teenage sons or preteen sons, and Teddy's on the opposite side though, right? Teddy's trying to help his mama. I'm gonna run these numbers, mama. I'm gonna interpret these people's dreams, get their numbers, so I can help out. My daddy ain't doing anything. He's sitting up there with the homies chilling, and you checking everybody. You're going from the mannequin to, let me get his speech. Maybe Summers will give me a job, to, now the house I got to clean up and pack up and go to my mama house because Slappy Ain't no way he'd run me out of my house. Ain't no way. But I do want to talk about her at this campaign, right? Because in that moment, I mean, we're meeting Black Baltimoreans, right, from all walks of life. We have a principal at the table where she's sitting, a perfect opportunity for networking. She's like, I'd love my son to go to your school. We also see the male
I didn't like that
constituency.
actually, because that principal was like, "Yeah, I gave away that hat you wearing right now." Like, say it again in my face, heifer.
But I mean, Cleo just wants her children to have better, right? She's like, can I do this? And then we see the male constituency there. And I thought this was a really interesting topic. And I was surprised that they would bring that up. We find out that Summer's platform is around integration. And these gentlemen ain't for it. They like segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. Like, listen, and that debate to me has always been an interesting one because I can actually see it from both sides. And I love that they approach that. And I also love that Cleo got to use her voice. She's charismatic. And we see that she's capable of more and worthy of more than where she's at right now. And I like how they highlighted that.
I was tired of Myrtle, honey. It was giving, wash my palm and I'll wash her, stand up and make this grand scene. And, I'm going to let you into the society, girl. She wasn't. She lied, girl. D.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but just the look. When I saw Myrtle, I was just like, Lord, I know what time it is. I already knew. I don't know. It's something. It was something in the eyes, I suppose. But yes, it's like I was saying, telling Ashley, but this is not giving Rochelle, I don't need this. My man got 2 jobs. Like, she's the one holding everything down. So it's unfortunate. And I do definitely agree with what Nikki said, to where because of the structure of the show, it's like highlighting the tragedy of it. And we see more so that, she's kind of fighting against her own demise in a sense. And so I think to know that everything she's working for will all be for naught eventually is very unfortunate. But I do think the dynamics of Baltimore, especially on the blackly black side of town, I thought that was really interesting. And just seeing the factions of Gordon and then Myrtle and, like all of that, I thought that was really, really interesting. And how they use that parallel and then that specific event to set the scene. I thought that was really interesting.
It is. I could stand Myrtle Summers, but I loved her because we know for that time there were a lot of congressmen and politicians and up and coming congresswomen who used this dirty money to fund their campaigns. And once they hit a certain level, they try to disassociate and become, something else and integrate, as she said, with them white people. Okay.
It's something I just now thought about. I didn't even think about it while I was watching it. But the parallel of the white family being the traditional family, the dad, I go to work, I got the money, I'm paying, the cars are in my name, the bills are in my name, the money in my name. All I need you to do is cook, and you ain't even doing that well. But that's all I asked you to do was fix me a nice meal, okay? Everything taken care of, and you got an attitude about everything, and storming out the house. And then we get Cleo, who's like, why are you not at work? Why are you not contributing? And both of them are coming home and being angry, but for 2 separate reasons. 2 different reasons. And I just thought that dynamic was interesting. And I wonder how many people actually caught that amongst their story, just showing the different family dynamics. And it's just like, oh, these generational patterns that just keep going. Like, why we can't go home and just chill out,
Yes. I did like the parallels of, even though it's different, it's still kind of the same. Like, both of their spouses are unfulfilling them in some type of way, shape, or form. Their sons in different ways are like starting to go a little, even though child Maddie's he can't stand her. But it's the same dynamic, but it's different. I liked it. I thought it was good. And
but that's why I don't like the characters. It's such a stereotype. You got the black woman that's out grinding, working, and then she has a deadbeat husband that's doing nothing. She got to take care of everybody. But the white woman, like Kay said, got the husband that's doing. I don't like it.
Child. Cleo said, if I had a tenth of what you had over there at the estates, girl, my feet would be up. I'm out here sleeping with Slappy the Goosebumps. Goddamn, like he ain't doing nothing. She's sitting there telling jokes, looking like the puppet he is. What's your plan, Maddie? No money or job, but there is plenty of judgment and an overly eager 20-something. Now, the little daughter over there, I don't know. She felt real icky about her character. Like I just didn't like her presence at all, and she just seems really weird. I don't know if she's supposed to be giving early 60s, late 70s flower child or what. I don't know. She gave me weird vibes. But yeah, Maddie moves to the hood. Maddie is in there like Tina Turner on What's Love Got to Do with It. I give you the ring off my finger if it means I don't have to go back to that man in that brisket. Just let me move in for just a little bit. And of course, the Jewish community, like, I'm gonna take you in until y'all figure this out. Everybody at this point is just assuming eventually Maddie is gonna go back home. Nikki, did you think Maddie was going to go back home or she was going to stay in this hood as long as she did? Because she really want her emancipation if she moving here. It ain't no white person in sight.
Hell no, Maddie ain't going home. I feel like this is more stereotypes. You got the Jewish guy that owns the place in the projects that he rents out. Like, it's just all giving stereotypes.
Always. Oh, but this is real, Nikki. They all like, come on, now you know.
But I know, but that's why I'm like, but why do we have to portray it like the Jewish stereotypes and the black stereotypes? It's just so heavy-handed in the show. Like, everybody's a damn stereotype child. But I love this little lesbian coded, crazy ass little redhead teen girl. Like, she wanna dive in Maddie Ocean, baby, so bad. But I love that little girl. She, for me, I can't remember her name, but she makes Maddie likable for me. Like, I can kind of stand Maddie when they got their little dynamic going on. But I knew Maddie was not about to go back home. Maddie want to be on somebody's CNN. She want to be in, the New York Times. But Maddie, for me, though, was very surprisingly at home in the hood. Like, she didn't go in that apartment and like look around. She just kind of took her shoes off, laid on the floor, smoked some weed. Like, she was happy in the hood.
She did. I thought it would. I mean, I guess that's a testament to how badly she wants to be free of it all. But it was just like, above all else, Maddie, who has been living this plush life and married and who is just strongly integrated into this Jewish community, I just thought for 1 second it would be like, maybe she would think about, like, she ain't even like try, like, she don't have a dime. Not even like she got some runaway money. You don't even have anything. Ashley,
but that's what I thought was crazy about her coming here. And maybe they just threw us into some melodrama without context, because the catalyst of leaving your husband and then screwing somebody else cannot be the little girl being missing and throwing the meat away. Like, that cannot be the catalyst for you finally saying this is it.
Child, that's what them some real flashbacks were. Like, I've been a Stepford robot. I've been on my back with this man. He ain't even switched positions for me. I'm ready to go. I got to get out of here. Ashley.
Yeah, we cannot be under any delusions that this was thought out, right? Up to a certain point, Maddie has been plotting and planning and was waiting on a reason. She was waiting on a calculated reason to be able to up and leave. She had that suitcase too fast. She had them clothes packed up too fast. She knew exactly where to go late in the midnight hour to find a place. And I agree with Nikki. Judith absolutely wants that kitty cat. She wanted real bad. It was clear and present danger. Even everybody else thinks it too, as we get into episode 2. But yeah, no, Maddie has been plotting, planning, and scheming to do this. She's been out of that relationship. She ain't want him. She don't want her son. Maddie wants to be in her free girl era. She wants to live by her own terms. And she feels as though in some way she's a victim in all this, right? What I will say, and we didn't really talk about much, was, though, because I can't stand her husband either. I'm not gonna knock her because he's trash. Because the man that they invite over said, yeah, when she got stood up by Alan Durst, for whatever, I was her date and she was sobbing and bawling. And he said, you were with Durst back in high school? I'm like, y'all got to be 30 years removed, sir. Why are you worried? So I wonder if that was the dynamic in their marriage, if he was uber jealous, if he had always been that way. But yeah, I don't have much sympathy for Maddie. She lived a life of privilege and she knew exactly where to go. The hood, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, Maddie left that house of comfort and been crying white tears ever since. Like she was running away from oppression, just sprinkling white tears, just everywhere to get this. Like you can't. On one hand, I need sympathy. I need people to feel sorry for me and to help me in my time of need. But then on the other hand, oh, I need to be validated because I'm a big boss and I'm a big writer and stuff. She just so aggravating. And this little girl here, the impression I got was because I only saw her and her dad. It was like, I'm like, where your mama? She just was like yearning for a female role model and mom and stuff. And Maddie is like, I don't even like my own child. So what you think I'm gonna do with you? like this ain't gonna be that kind of rapport. I don't have those kind of feelings towards people.
Y'all gonna make Maddie
I
go
don't
this
think it's a role model baby yearning for.
When even at the because when they do find the body and she's like, I just want to hold me instead. Like, you get your ass over.
Exactly. Like she needs something. Like she needs something. Like she needs love. That's where is your mom? You need something. But Maddie ain't got it.
D.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was still stuck on that. Yes. I will say this about old girl. You may look at her and think that she's just a young girl, but she's not just a young girl, baby. This is what she's looking for. Okay. So yeah, I think it was very clear. I think it was very clear. And the thing is, to me, and I know I'm unlike a lot of people, I know how to separate actors and actresses from the roles they play. But I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I have a permanent side eye for Mikey Madison ever since I saw her in the 5th Scream movie. So I always, whenever I see her in anything, I'm always like, like, so what you gonna do in this role? I just always feel like her characters are gonna be a little off. So yeah, so I'm interested in seeing like how that develops. But yeah, this clearly was, even if it's only unconsciously, this was already a plan that Maddie had in motion. Because despite her husband being a lot of things, I just feel like it couldn't take something that small to send you out the door. So this has been in the works for a while.
Oh Lord, that makes her even worse. You use this baby's dead, so oh, y'all don't care. I'm getting out of here. You want to leave anyway. Don't be trying to use that poor baby Tessie to grab your little your luggage, ma'am. Trash, Maddie, absolute trash. But she got her little. She knew where to go. She knew where to go, and he took her in. Oh, Mr. Gordon is not to be played with. Running numbers, the books, Officer Black, and that was definitely a threat. Now, she was really playing with fire here and putting a whole lot of stock in Miss Summers, because it's just like, you know what, girl, I'm gonna do what you said. I'm gonna stand here and look all disenfranchised, and Myrtle Summers pulled me up, and she's giving me opportunity. This is what it could be if you link up with her as well. But Mr. Gordon is not here for that. I was not expecting for us to shift gears and she's in here with Mr. Gordon running numbers. I was like, ma'am, Cleo, you still got to go home, ma'am. I just didn't exactly know what Cleo thought this was. Well, clearly she thought, it's not really a big deal. I didn't really say, all that much. All I said was, but yeah, the table has a whole lot to say about it. And Mr. Gordon also, I just love the little, first of all, shout out to Wood Harris. I was like, oh girl, this is Black. Wood Harris is here. But it was just the subtlety and his power and his flex. So, you'll get up there and introduce old girl, just because I said so and I can make you do that. I still, pay your check. You work for me regardless of what you think. And then this was right about the time that I was like, oh, okay, hey, Dan, you Officer Black. You over there looking at Cleo? Is she going to leave Slappy and get with a man with a real job? No, you just looking for anybody with legs at this point. Looking for anybody. I had faith in you, Daniel. Why? Kay, how'd you feel about this?
Look, if it ain't Black, Wood Harris is not even leaving the house. Okay, he's not even wasting his time. It got to be Black for him to even come out of the house. So every time I see him, I'm like, okay, I know this gonna be black. Because this is what he gonna show up for. And look, Cleo she is out here hustling. I did not expect her to come from the dress shop to come down here to have she got a day job and a night job. And all she is asking for that man to do is just help a little bit. Like, she is really out here trying. And then we've seen her at the politician office. When did she go to sleep?
Dropped some kids off at her mama's and told that stepfather where to go and came straight here. I thought she was working at the bar. The fact that she's all behind and you in the trenches doing the books, girl, you too close for comfort to be standing up at a rally.
She got her legal jobs and her side hustles. You know what? At this point, I can't even be mad at it.
Nikki, just tell me this scene did something for you. Were you happy to see Wood Harris at least?
I'm gonna tell you, I was hyped to see Wood. I am so hyped that my boy is getting a check. It ain't easy for these black actors to be trying to get work. So I'm happy he got a solid check. And my baby from Insecure looking fine. But I think his name Officer Platt, not Officer Black.
Oh,
but I knew it's somebody in the chat saying they thought that he was gonna hook up with, or he wanted Maddie. I mean, Cleo told us that he liked white women. So we knew that wasn't about to happen. She told us that he liked white women. But Wood Harris, Mr. Gordon, he the Frank Lucas of the block. And I actually like his character. Like, I like his little Frank Lucas little character that he got going on. But I knew exactly how this was going to play out for Maddie, because she put everything on her shoulders. She's trying to take care of everybody. And once she saw that things weren't going to work out with the politician, of course she came over here to try to, get some more money in her pocket. But I don't think she realized what she was really doing and how deep into bed she was getting with Frank Lucas when she decided to do this. But them men at that table was pissing me off so bad. The man at that table was pissing me off so bad. Like, I just stood up and I just talked. Y'all was planning on killing the lady anyway, so why does it matter that I stood up to say anything? But what I am very surprised by, I don't know if we're going to get into it later, but with Gordon, I'm very surprised I don't think he told Reggie to tell Cleo to go, do that delivery. I don't think that came from him. But I'm very surprised that he would use such fools to pull out such a serious job. I'm like, I thought you was better than this. Like, you're not supposed to be at the front row of the fight with a mink coat. Like, I thought you knew the rules. Like, what in the world is going on? I would think you would pick people more efficient, because they was giving me, they gonna snitch, they gonna F up the job. Like, they was giving me all kinds. But look, I'm not Thug Life. So what do I know?
Ashley.
Yeah, so he would, I'm always happy to see him, and he's aging so well. Like, absolutely. Okay, so now that she's come back and he's like, listen, you open up your mouth for her all day. I pay you, you doing that for free. I pay you, get up on the stage, introduce your high friend, so she can sing this song in a way I've never heard anybody sing the song. I wasn't mad at it though. But I think at this moment it becomes pivotal. I think Cleo, out of desperation, is like, I'm going to speak up for Summers because this is my way out, right? She doesn't want to be in this. She don't want to be barkeeper, bookkeeper, mannequin. She's like, can I get one stable job? And he's like, well, go on. I know your husband ain't working. I said, well, that's embarrassing, but I guess everybody knows anyway. Go on ahead and tell him he can come do his little act. But as far as you're concerned, you do what I tell you. I pay this. I run this. And I just think, honestly, that whole situation was about her wanting more for herself with Summers and taking a risk. And sometimes we got to take a risk.
What about you, D? Were you here for the Wood Harris of it all? Do you feel like Cleo bit off way more than she can chew? Just even standing up in the first place in episode 1, because you knew you had to go and run them numbers. And I was here, girl. Billie Holiday said, same girl, flushing evidence and that good dope. Because, girl, what? She wasn't gonna make it. I thought she wasn't gonna make it to the stage. I thought nothing wasn't gonna come off, and then it was giving, them their eyes. Lady Sings Blue was like, girl, you better make something out of nothing. But yeah, D, go ahead.
You could. Yes, definitely always great to see Wood Harris. I think he's definitely someone who flies under the radar, and I don't know if his talent is always as appreciated as it should be. And even despite all that he's done, it's always going to be Julius Campbell from Remember the Titans for me. That was the introduction, and there's always going to be a special love there for that character in that role. But yes, definitely bit off more than she could shoot for sure, but it also shows you how what a slippery slope that world is. Even when you try to, even when you feel like you're just dipping your toe. And I think it also highlights the reality. Sometimes it kind of depends on the circumstances, but it's like if we already are living in this world where we already have limitations in place racially, by class, by all these different, issues, society, in a societal sense, then, sometimes the door, staying open just to keep your head above water and stay afloat, sometimes that looks a little more desirable when you're in that particular situation. So I think it's one of those things where you kind of feel like, okay, I'll run some numbers, or I'll do this, I'll work at the club, and then it's really easy to be pulled in when that was never your intention. So, and it happened very quickly. And even the way Gordon was speaking to her in that conversation, it was very smooth and very slick the way he did it, but it was also very you could hear the intensity underneath. It's like, okay, this can go one way or this can go another way. So yeah, I think she has definitely created a complicated scenario for herself.
And as far as Reggie here flushing this fish, I'm not going to play with the show. I'm not going to play with y'all. Reggie just said, say, what now? Who? Yeah, let me go. I don't want nothing. Even the fish I bought on that day, I don't need y'all connecting me to that store in no way. Let me go on and just flush it and go on by my way. I didn't feel like it was frantic as far as him having something to do about it. He may know who does have something to do with it, but it's not Reggie himself. He does the little brunt work. He does as he's told, but he wasn't told to do that. Not the girl. We don't want that kind of attention. Let me just hold. I want to hold us. Oh, Peter, sit down. How did Maddie know exactly where to go to find Tessie's body? How did she know? She went directly. It wasn't even. You have her linking up with the 20-something Judith, and it's just like, if I can't join a search party, I'm going to create my own. There was no searching involved. She went directly to the spot and found the baby and broke down as soon as she saw her, as if I was expecting her to be here, but I wasn't expecting her to be here. Ashley, how did Maddie know where to go?
It make me feel like she and Alan Durst did something in them woods by that something before. Like, I don't know what's up with Maddie, but like I said, she got a hand in it, because it was like she and Judith, I was like, are they finna make out in the woods at first? I was like, what's going on? And it's like, oh, there's Tessie. No, hold me. No, you go get help. I can't leave her. Well, baby, I'm sorry to say that baby already gone. You leaving, the body ain't gone. Tessie don't know anymore. I'm sorry. Tessie don't know. And then she tuned up her face, and I was like, this is the moment she's been waiting for. This is the thing that she's needed, because now she's going to be a hero. Now all eyes are going to be on her, for better or worse. But no, it was very suspicious, girl, because why are y'all there? And I mean, not a flashlight. You're there with this heifer in the middle of the night, in the darkest, most remotest part of these woods. Like, how? Something happened there before. She knew something, she saw something, she witnessed something, or she participated. I believe that.
It had to be, because it almost felt like, last time when this happened, umpteen whatever years ago, this is where the body was taken. It's probably here again. Like, she knows something. Dee, what about you?
Yeah, I think definitely once I thought about the flashback in the woods, it was just kind of like, and even then, it's just like, of all the places in Baltimore, I mean, Baltimore is a pretty massive city, and it's just like a body could be anywhere, like anywhere. So it's very strange to have a direct line to that particular place in that particular area, and then find her, and then just like as was said, like the energy and just the reactions to everything, like what's really going on here. And we already know there's a link because of the whole Durst piece. So yeah, I thought that was very off-putting, and like I said, shocking, because I wasn't expecting the story to go in this direction as far as Tessie, but that obviously takes on a greater significance as we go on. And let me also say, because you showed the little slide for it, but Jennifer Magbach, who portrayed Dora, her rendition of "Where Did Our Love Go?" When I'm not kidding, when I tell you I played that easily, like back like 10 to 15 times.
Yeah, it was moving.
Like where is the single? Like, can we get a release, please? I need it now.
It was moving. I mean, I'm just focusing on the just, I guess, the physical or the more so poignant characters in the show, but just the essence of the show. As a lover of me some good old jazz, like the show is doing everything it needs to do. When we get to that second episode and that Havana Nights rendition mixed with us taking down Dude in the Fish Store, it's like, oh, like image wise, we are going to be taking away some beautiful things from the show, and I can't wait if we are just getting this. But the song, I was here for it. She had me mesmerized. I was just glad that she didn't fall out.
Right.
But yeah, Nikki, I'm gonna come to you. What's up with Maddie, and why was she crying? Like, you would swear that this was her baby in the woods, the way she was crying.
Yeah, Maddie was giving me sicko, because the only this is a dead body of somebody she don't even really know this little girl like that. Probably couldn't pick the little girl out of a lineup, but she talking about I gotta hold her. Why? Like, only a parent does that. Like, if a parent gotta go identify their child at the morgue, they're gonna want to kiss the child on the forehead. Because that's their child. But it was just really strange for her to say, I want to hold it. First of all, you ain't supposed to mess with a crime scene. Like, What are you even doing? But this was also the catalyst to make me feel like I think Maddie is connected to Tessie's death. I don't think Maddie killed her. But when they were walking in the woods and Judith said something about, oh, did you make out with somebody, with your high school boyfriend or something? I do think that this area in the woods ties back to that high school relationship. Yeah. And I also think it ties back because this isn't a little child like 3 years old who would wander off with anybody. A child of this big age would only wander off with somebody they trust. And I don't see a stranger kidnapping and forcing her when it's a crowded area at the time. I see her willingly walking off with someone. If we're to believe that that was the last, time she was seen, as the show showed us, was in that little store at the parade. So I really think it lead back to her dad or her grandpa. Like, I feel like something. I feel like they wanted them to kill her, if not something leads to them, and whatever tie Maddie has with that high school boyfriend and his dad and these woods, like, too much of it is connected to her past for me. But I feel like this actually showed us more of the parallels between Maddie and Cleo as far as race and class. Maddie has a privilege due to class, but even though she's Jewish, and this is a time where, of course, Jewish people went through the Holocaust and they weren't treated very well in America, but she has a privilege as far as when she goes out into the world, she's treated as a white woman. When that cop is talking to her, and it's not until she gives her last name, and he's, oh God, this creeper cop, but he's like, oh, I didn't know you were Jew. You got a good nose for a Jew, whatever weird racist thing he said. But that also plays into when I think something Ashley said earlier when we were talking about Cleo and Maddie at that shop, and the way they show the little intricacies and details of how Cleo felt and was treated in that moment. Everywhere Cleo goes in life, she's treated as a Black person. She's treated as a Black woman. But there's a privilege for Maddie because she gets to go out into the world and not only live a privileged life because of class, but live a privileged life because the world looks at her as a white woman.
Mm-hmm. The first thing popped into my head, I just kept waiting for a flashback of, like, I was like, was Maddie pregnant? I was like, that would make sense with the disconnect that she has for her son and why she's so invested in this little girl that she really doesn't know. I was like, did she have get pregnant for the boy, or like she's out here like she's a mother, like, oh, I just need to hold her, like my baby's gone. I was like, are you the mom?
That's a good thing. I didn't think about that because she could be thinking this is the child she was supposed to have with that high school boyfriend. Because it's definitely something with her son. Because typically boys cling to their mother, but her son clings to the dad. And I
Not
find
only
that pretty
that,
odd.
like they equally don't care in great measure about Texas being missing, but the son, especially when we're getting from episode 1 to 2, he wants no info. Like, I don't care. Like, don't tell me nothing about that little girl. I don't care. Like, I don't want to go to that funeral. Who all gonna be over there down at the funeral? Because I don't care. I don't want to go. Like, why we gotta bury him instantly anyway? Like, I don't care. Like, he's just really like, ugh, like, and it's just kind of unnatural. I'm like, why is he so upset that his mother cares so much? I'm like, is this your kid? Like, just something has to connect, because she was on that ground and like clobbering in a way that I would if it was my baby. And I'm like, this isn't your daughter, is it? Okay.
I was waiting for somebody to say something, to point out something I saw. But let me go ahead and say it. If that had been a Black woman that found a dead body, they'd have arrested her at the scene. I was waiting on them to arrest her and say, "Oh, how did you immediately go straight to the body? You ain't even have a search party. You ain't go looking. You ain't build up a team. You left the house, found an apartment, and went straight to the body." And nobody thought that was suspicious. Nobody said, "We gonna hold you in an overnight cell." Nobody said, "Let me go interview you, your husband, your child, the group, the people that you be hanging around with, the man who gave you." Nobody did no investigating. They just accepted it. And I'm like, that just didn't sit right with me.
Oh Lord, they were too busy being attracted in all that. Oh, you're Jewish. You don't even look Jewish. That's what they were worried about, in whether or not this was a lesbian situation in the woods. 1947 Sweethearts, and something like most of Maddie's self-reflection seems off. High school journalistic aspirations. Now, the dad, like every male in the show is almost just creepy. Everybody's like, I'm expecting it for the time, the misogyny. Everybody's like really sexist, and all that other stuff that would come with that time period towards women, both Maddie and Cleo. But when we have her here, the dad here in the scene just rubbed me the wrong way. Not even before we got to his pictures and the paintings and what he's like, he rubbed me the wrong way. The mother seemed, I don't know, something just seemed off. Even just the way he described his mother, like, oh, she knows everything. She even knows, my thought. Like, I was like, do you love my son? Or like, what? I was like, something's off with this family. I don't know what it is, but something happened to Maddie that she is not talking about, because she goes like, you know what? I never tried to do more. You didn't follow your journalistic ambitions. Do you ever wonder why? Like, what exactly happened to Maddie, and what has she been running from this whole time? Ashley, did something happen here? Is the daddy nasty?
The daddy is super suspect. I mean, I didn't like how he was talking to her. I didn't like how he was looking at her. It gave very much predator. It gave very much, if we're ever in this house alone together, watch out, sister. And also the mama. I thought his mother, she gave Summers to me. When we later see Summers' interaction with Cleo, this reminded me of that, because we have a young woman, right, Maddie, figuring out her life, aspirational, wanting to be this journalist, going to you, talking about what is surrealism, picking your brain because you're this established artist, this mentor, right? And you come back at her like, what are your intentions with my son? He's acting different. Like, girl, I'm trying to grow here. I'm trying to learn from you. I'm trying to glean what I can from you. And you're uninterested in this conversation. Basically, you're really just doing this as a favor to your son and to figure out who I am. I didn't like anything about it. We also kind of see in younger Maddie this desire, I believe, to be accepted, right? To be embraced. She's seemingly in love with this young Alan Durst. But yeah, I ain't like the mama, and I didn't like the daddy.
So, somebody made Maddie cry. That's all I'm gonna say. D.
Yeah, yeah, as soon as Pop decided he was going to say, I'm so jealous because if it was me, whoa. I just from that point on, I was kind of like, okay. And then with if, and some of them go by really fast, but with some of the flashbacks and the images we see kind of popping in and out, there may be some kind of suggestion of Daddy considering or potentially, getting to the point where we're body rocking, knocking the boots. So, but again, and that obviously has its own consequences in some form or another that we don't know. But yeah, as soon as, and then the pictures and all that, I was like, oh Lord, this is already the beginning of something bad.
Body rocking, knocking the boots. Was it voluntarily though? Did you chase Maddie down in them woods? What's really going on, Nikki?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What Dee was just touching on. When we get, first of all the hair stood up on the back of my neck. Dad was giving creeper from the second he entered the frame. But when they showed the little flashes, I do feel like we saw like some kind of, made me feel like blood, like if someone's a virgin and you bleed. I very much was feeling like the dad assaulted her in a non-consensual way. Like that's what I was getting from the dad's verbiage, what he was saying, his attitude, and the flashbacks. The whole family for me though, the mom and dad was, oh God. They was definitely giving me, there's something under the veil. Like there's something hitting away below the surface. It's oh Lord, it's something up with them. But I think, look, Grandpa is out here. Grandpa the serial killer. Like Grandpa doing something. Yeah. But when they were in here as well, and Maddie goes to like look for him, and she's looking in that room, the paintings. I also feel like the wife is on the up and up with him, because all she had to do was pull up a little cloth. Like it's not like that painting was like hidden. I just feel like, and then I kind of feel like that the boyfriend set her up, because how your dad preying on your girlfriend and then you stand her up at prom, there's something with that as well.
It is. I'm just, the only thing with that and trying to connect it to Tessie, if it is connected as to why she just knew to go there, I'm like, you ain't do nothing to your grandbaby, did you? Kay?
Maddie is full of secrets. Okay, she don't be making this face right here for no reason. I really think that's a part of her disassociation, is that she is trying to somehow disassociate from things that happened to her, but also because she probably doesn't really feel good about who she is because of these things. So she has to get something external to kind of make herself feel better. And because they lived at a time where, we don't talk about those things, or this could get you in trouble, or this person has, this level of prestige. And even though, out in the world, she has the privilege of a white woman, but within her community, as we see, she's silenced. Like nobody cares what she has to say at all.
That's what Miss Cleo gonna be for. She gonna make use Tessie and everybody else to make somebody care about what she has to say. So everyone's a sexist creep. Lesbian and Maddie's nice nose. I'm not planning to give my story to anyone. Now look at him. He's just gonna be Officer Black, because I just that made sense to me. And I just feel like that needs to be his name. First of all, like he spots Maddie here at the precinct and everything. They're thinking like worried about the wrong thing. Or like you said, Kay, why are we not being held? Why are like hello? But everybody's too busy being a creep. I was like, the officer here, and in her face, smelling her, touching her, just amazed at the fact that she's Jewish, she's a woman of privilege, but outside of that, you don't even look Jewish. Like she, treating Maddie like I'm trying to have sympathy for Maddie, but I don't like Maddie. But all of this in combination what we get later with Officer Black, like, sir, I just don't understand why a brother. Why would you go out of your way to attach yourself to the likes of Maddie? But I had to just point out this scene here, because I was like, is this going to come back? Because she is saying, I'm not planning to speak or give my story to anyone. But we know eventually she's going to, and it's going to, put her up there as far as her journalism. So are they going to confront her about it? Because clearly who they are presenting to us as the killers, it's not them. So it's probably some other stuff at foot, and the police are covering up for that as well. So we're going to see that. But yeah, I'll be happy if we never see this officer again. I'll be happy if we never see this officer again. But the contention that Officer Platt has in the workplace, and I'm like, bruh, why? No Time to Dream. All of Cleo's stock. All of Cleo's stock is in Myrtle Summers, whose campaign was funded with distasteful funds. Now we have, Dora be tripping. She be on one all the time. But she knows enough to know that you should not be putting all your eggs in the Myrtle Summers basket. And at this point, Cleo just cannot believe that this woman has anything to do with any dirty money and that she is on the up and up. And we get to see just how invested Cleo is. And pretty much Miss Summers changing her life. This is the woman I've stood by. This is the woman that has been my teacher since childhood. And she told me X, Y, and Z. And I'm thinking that she's going to deliver. So when she doesn't, oh, you had Cleo messed up. She was mad. Opportunities to surrender my dignity. Shirley Chisholm would never. Wait your turn. We all had to. Ma'am, Cleo is running out of time. Kate, I'm going to come back to you first. How did you feel when Miss Summers here said, no, baby?
I think she felt betrayed. I really think she felt betrayed because, especially since they have a pretty solid relationship, or so she thought. She's like, you know what I'm going through. You know, I'm trying to feed my family. You know how I'm a hard worker. You've known me. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna show up. That's who I am. And the lady was just like, no, not in the way I need you to show up. I really felt like it was a betrayal, and she wasn't ready for it, because all she really just trying, again, like Maddie, I'm trying to find my place. I think this is my place. I think these people in this area, this position, actually care about me. And it was on that day she found out that she was working hard for a bunch of people who like to give two flying flips about her.
Actually, I'm gonna come to you. Do you feel like Miss Summers is for the ladies, or is she manipulated within her own community for profit? Do you feel like if the white people didn't say nothing to her about how it looks with Mr. Gore, because that was her excuse, I would have brought you on down and let you join the team?
No, that heifer ain't right. And she has the mentality that a lot of people have, some in the older generation, which is that I had to struggle, I had to go through this, and so now you do too. Wait your turn. And it's such a sick mentality, right? Because when we think about our forebears and the people that came before us, their efforts and the way that they strived, and because why they strived was so that the next generation wouldn't have to have the same hurdle that they had. It was a cop out. It was sick. It made me sick to my stomach. Myrtle Summers is an opportunist. She is a raggedy heifer, in my opinion. And I mean, I wanted Cleo to slap her up. Because when the people came over to, I said, get him, Cleo. Get him, Glow. Get him, Clo. Because, I mean, it's unfair. And like you said, you grow up with someone watching. And when she is speaking, doing this spot, she's like, I kind of had to make up my mind, right? Am I going to be this woman of moral and have all of these high ideals and principle and dignity? But the two don't go together. I got to feed my kids. You know what I'm saying? And then I go to the person that I believed in and trusted was there to provide a better future for all of us. And that was a lie too. Child. And I think the meeting was her giving Summers a second chance, because she's like, I see it in the book, right? I see the 25, I see the payouts, I see those, but maybe when I talk to her, it's going to be different because I know her. She's my friend. She's there for the people. This was, to me, the utter and complete betrayal. And I hated that for Cleo. Yeah. And Summers showed us who she was.
It was. For me, it was first. I love when she used her own phrase again, like, opportunities for what? For me to surrender my dignity some more? Like, this is like, you lied. But what took me back was, like, even in spite of this, you still wanted me to get in front of the camera and, exploit myself and say all that you've done for me. Like, girl, get on my face. It was disappointing that she didn't. Like, D, were you here for this?
So I think so. One thing I'll say, and people may feel differently about it, but I feel like everyone at some point has the Negro wake-up call for one reason, as it relates to the world and relates to society, that aspect of society, or that majority of society that is non-Black. But I feel like there's also a Negro wake-up call that comes when it comes to the whole not all skin folk is kinfolk situation. So I think that was just her moment. I think that was the wake-up call. And sometimes you assume because you're in community with people, whether you grow up with them or whether you like you assume like there's a sense of loyalty, there's a sense of connection, there's a sense of understanding. And so that will naturally pave the way, for something beneficial down the road. It makes sense. And then when you realize that that's not the way the world works, and that's not the way even people in your community work, it's very damaging, and it can kind of distort the way you see the world as well. And I just think it was really unfortunate to see. I wasn't, in a way, I wasn't surprised. I was just like, I'm kind of waiting for it to come, but still, it doesn't make it any less devastating for her to actually deal with the reality of it.
I was just surprised she still wanted her to be a good old girl and get out there for, how much I need this funding, this money. Girl, get on out there and do what you need to do. I'll lift you up later if I can on the back end. Nikki?
Yeah, I agree 100% with D. It's very much giving it be your own people. I feel like this was another where Miss Summers definitely came off as like the stereotypical Black politician where appearances are I'm here for the community, and they were even talking about how she's pushing for the segregation, which we know at that time some Black people were for it, a lot were against it. They just wanted to stay in their communities. But I feel like when Cleo came here, I feel like it was two things happening, kind of like what was previously said. Of course, it's the loss of the opportunity she thought she was going to have where she could leave working for Gordon. But I think it's also like her bubble being burst on who she thought Miss Summers was and what she thought she really stood for. Like it really gave like, you just gonna kick me in the back. And I don't believe it had anything to do with the white. No, I think she was never intending on hiring Cleo. She just wanted to use her to the point that even when I kind of tell you, you ain't getting the job, but go shuck and jive and be the WB frog and get in front of the camera. Like she still was willing to say,
not an actual dime to her name. I'll sell my car, Peter. I'll sell my car. Not without your husband's permission. I love that little, first of all, shout out to 2-1 Fool when they played that Barbara Streisand, Gotta Move. I was getting my life. Gotta get out, gotta leave, gotta find a man. She found a man, all right. She found a man real quick, a Black one. But we have them, she comes back, with her privileged self. No, I'm not coming home. I need some money. I need to go off and, find my place and myself. I'm not coming home at all. I didn't leave my son. I left you. Clearly, the husband is not at all interested in subsidizing her separate lifestyle away from the family. But they do go and pay their respects to little Tessie. And we do also see that the store owner or the fish store guy, I think his name is Stefan or Stefan, I'm not sure. His mother's there. She came there to pay her respects also. But this is just anticipation of her going home. Where Maddie has me messed up at is her moving into this very Black neighborhood. And since we can't sell this car, we decide to, shout, I've been robbed. And she's hiding her own ring and sit down, Officer Friendly. I thought that was just so irresponsible. We don't know who could have rolled up, who could have came. I thought those officers, that weirdo that dropped her off was going to come back and he was going to be, being real racial, stereotypical in that Black neighborhood. Like, all right, empty your pockets. I didn't know what was going to happen. So at least Officer Friendly came, but he wasn't worried about nothing two ways. Clearly he knew exactly. He could read her like a book. I know what you're here for. It wasn't insured. You do know that ain't gonna roll around until a couple of months if you think you're gonna stage the situation and get that money overnight. But he is instantly interested in Maddie. Kay, I am going to come to you first. How did you feel about this funeral scene? And how did you feel about Maddie in the neighborhood with the Blacks saying that she's been robbed?
At the funeral, how you be dysfunctional at a function that's supposed to bring people together? There was just no kind of let's get along and hold hands and connect right here. It was just very disjointed, and I was just like, this is like, she doesn't really care about the state of her family right now. You could just see that wasn't on list of priorities. And I was really upset at the only thing was to accuse somebody of burglary in a black area. Why you ain't do that at your own home? Why you ain't go home and say somebody robbed you? Why would you have to do it in an area that somebody could be falsely accused of something and lose their life or lie because you man don't nobody want to give you no money? All you had to do was stay home. Your husband was giving you money the whole time. She made her own life hard. She made her life so complicated, and it didn't have to be that way.
Nikki?
Yeah, given the time period of the show, and I be real sensitive to like racial stuff on TV. It was quite a few times where my heart was stopping because I just knew the cops were finna run through the neighborhood and yoke up all the black guys. So I felt like you, Tyra, I thought that same jerk behind officer was the one that was finna come. So, but then I had to think, of course, it's going to be the black cops because they don't care about crime happening in the black neighborhood. Of course, they seen the black cops. But I really, like, my heart was, I was like, oh, God, please don't go yoke up the brothers because this lady lied about her ring. But, yeah, that funeral also makes me feel like they cannot be writing Maddie's son as just a angsty, annoying teen. There has to be. He has such a hatred, and like this isn't the typical teen with an attitude. Like there is something he didn't even really want to stand at the funeral. I feel like there is something where I don't know if he feels like his mother is showing more care and concern for this dead little girl than she has ever shown him. I don't know what it is, but I also feel like when she's in that neighborhood, and even when Kay said something earlier about if it was a black person that found the body, they would have just thought they were the killer. But I feel like it's also with it being the 60s, they played with it a bit about, oh, you and your lesbian lover, you were suspects for like a hop, skip, jump in a second. I think in this time period, they're not going to believe that a woman pulls off a crime like this or murders someone. I mean, we see true crime all the time where in a certain time period, the 60s, 50s, 40s, women got away with murder all the time simply because of the misogyny of not believing a woman could do it. But I want to know, oh, Jesus. Maddie is in this neighborhood. Officer Platt is about to get his ass lynched, hooking up with his white lady. I don't know what the hell he thinking, but hey, Cleo told us he liked white women. But I feel like something is going to come of them two and their relationship. We already saw that crazy officer that like bumped into him all crazy and got. It's something that's going to come of that. I just feel like Maddie going to leave a lot of destruction in her wake. I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving her too much credit, but I feel like she's going to leave a lot of destruction in her wake.
You leave your own destruction, Daniel. You could have had anybody, sir. You could have had anybody. Ashley?
Yeah, Maddie again. This is when I officially knew she was no good. So Tyra, no, she did all of it. She did more than what we think she did because she's the most dangerous type of YT woman. She really, really is because she has no regard for anyone else but her and what her motivation is in the moment. I bet you $100 that she didn't even think about the consequences or potential consequences of pulling her little insurance fraud scam. As far as the funeral, I think the most impactful portion for me was Tessie's mom, going to her and of course making Maddie feel like the hero. You stayed with my baby. Do you think she called out for her mama? Girl, now how the heck would she know that? But I thought that was interesting. And I agree with all of you. Again, the way Maddie's son has this disdain for her, it runs deep. Heck, if he even is real, he might be a vision in her mind as well at this point. And as far as Officer Platt, the fetishization is irking me. It seems like he is just enamored of this YT woman. Like he hasn't seen anything like her. The sun rises and sets, and I don't like that narrative. That's a portion that I really don't like. And she's just trying the flavor of the week. You know what I mean? She had him last night. getting it from behind. And then tomorrow she'll probably have Judith on the countertop. Like Maddie is just exploring at this point. I don't trust her. He's gonna catch feelings. He's gonna be in love. He's gonna try to talk her off the edge. And watch, he gonna get caught up in her foolishness. Watch.
Yes, I love y'all. Had me some Lynn last night, y'all.
Oh, no.
Dee, how did you feel about that funeral and Officer Friendly showing up when she got robbed? I felt like she was gonna. I'm a white woman in a black neighborhood. Go ahead, Dee.
Yes. I mean, I'm not surprised she went to the funeral, but it was so so uncomfortable to watch, considering the circumstances. And then when Tessie's mother, who obviously is genuinely mourning, and I guess also that hitting harder because of as was said, the last things she said to Tessie.
No, hold on, Dee. I want to ask you something, because I thought it was strange that like the mother went over there with, thank you. You have a history with the father. He looked off real quick. I just want to say that. He ain't acknowledged Maddie at all.
That is true. So that is very, very true. And I think there's a lot I'm excited to learn more about, but I just think Maddie's affiliation with the Durst family, I need to know because it muddies the waters and it clouds so many things, and it's definitely a root cause for some of the things, at least partly some of the things we're seeing now. So yeah, the funeral was a trip, and like I said, seeing Tessie's mother in this very genuine state of grief versus Maddie, who was just simply there, I don't know, to make herself feel better, to, as you said, represent and be the hero and all that. It was like, all right, let's move on from this. And as far as Officer Black, as you said,
yes.
Really quickly, shout out to Team Daniel. Lawrence was not the one. I'm sorry. Once Lawrence sold his body for that liquor and was hooking up with them too, no.
That sold his body.
No. It was a wrap after that. But
Team Daniel.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he deserved more. But as far as this, I did think it was hilarious that he had this pegged immediately, and that she really just thought this was going to yes, I am a poor, victimized woman who is in this, poor, strange neighborhood, and I came here. Just the optics of it was already whack. And we already spoke on the consequences of that and what that could have been. But just even for her to do all that, and the end game wasn't even what you thought it was going to be, as far as the claim and all that. So it was just like, you just, as was said, her willingness to just kind of go off of her instincts, which don't seem to be great, and just kind of head first into disaster. I think that's a recurring theme. And I think that theme has already been recurring before now. We just have to find out how.
That's what I'm saying, Dee. Just the whole the plan, like the lack of saving any money. Clearly, we knew we wanted to leave our husband and our son. I love that picture I have of him at the funeral. Like, hey girl, he just really hate her. But we have that going on. She's moving into this space. I don't have any money. Ask Judith, like, if you could just talk to your dad about me. I need a month or so. She's like, no, you got to handle that on your own. You didn't save anything. You didn't think of any ramifications of calling, saying that you've been robbed. Didn't even fathom that, I might not get that insurance money tomorrow. We let this guy in, let this stranger in, this reporter, and he's asking for detail and everything, and she gives her what she knows via Officer Platt doing some of his job, saying, we have a suspect in tow, and they found the gravel under the fingernails. But Maddie doesn't give me like, oh, I'm going to be just this top tier journalist, and like she's insightful. Even in this moment, she's like, yeah, my husband was a lawyer and I was a journalist in my time. Girl, what are you talking about? Where? I'm not seeing any of the. I thought, we would really, maybe later we'll see her get her Nancy Drew on, but I'm just not seeing, what? There's a brilliance to the lights of Maddie. Maddie's slow. Maddie is a little touched, like she's irrational. Now, clearly she is just doing everything on the cusp and taking everything as it comes at her, but I'm really interested to see her rise to this fantastic, renowned journalist and, climbing up off the back of Cleo's story, because it's just absolutely not here. But I took away from this and him saying, people will pay a lot of money for, this. She's like, I gave him a good lead, or giving him all of this. I gave him a good lead. No, Officer Platt gave you that lead and you just told him. You didn't give anybody anything. Maybe you did nothing but roll up on this body free and clear, and nobody even held you in custody to ask you a damn question. So I'm really anxious to see how she climbs and what that means for her in this career. But if it's nothing, I swear that'll be so funny. Beating the brakes off. All of this, and I still don't think he's the culprit. They are really trying to paint this picture. Now, this gas mask here, it's giving Ted Bundy, Dahmer, Charles Manson, isn't this. But I think this is strategic for us to maybe think, hey, there's something afoot with the fish boy. Because why are you doing this? Now, are those the little fish that people use for pedicures when they eat the dead skin off of the feet? That's what it looked like to me. And if you were putting your whole body in here, I don't know what sensation you get, but we ain't gonna talk about it on this live. But yeah, the mother coming in there with that wet towel. She beat the. Now I felt sorry for him, and because I feel like we're gonna get to something mentally. He's clearly not all there. Like something is just off, and it's just offset. It's like, I told you, if I caught you doing this again, I will put you out again. Like this is regular behavior for him. But Ashley, I'm gonna come to you first. How did you feel about this scene, and how do you feel about Fish Boy in general?
Yeah, he got some weird stuff going on. Them little fishes were getting into crevices, I feel like. But again, seeing him initially, right? He had good sense. He's telling the girl, go get your parents and come on back. And now to see, especially after he gets out and she breaks him down like a fraction and he's on the floor in there, it's like he reverted to this other form of himself. And so I was like, was there a substance in the mask? Is this something that he does? Is he on the spectrum? What's going on with him really? And even later on, as we'll see, it's as though she's defending him, no, something else is going on. So hopefully we get to dive into that. I also thought, honey, his whole delusion, he's thinking he's dancing with his mama and he's dancing with a whole mop while the Havana Nights are going on. There's clearly something that's disconnected for him, and him living in this alternate reality. But I'm actually intrigued by his character. I actually don't think he's a villain, but I think he's into some weird stuff.
Yeah, in that trailer, he's asking Maddie, how did you know where to go to find that body? Because we all want to know. We have questions. D, were you here for the beating of the brakes off of him with that wet towel? Because that sent me. I felt sorry, but I was still laughing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, it took me right back to Antoine Fisher, and Lord knows what.
I was going to say, don't do that, because if you mention Antoine Fisher, I got to say, nigga.
There goes the lie.
I'm sorry.
All I'm gonna say is you are not the only one. I'm not even gonna mention my family members and how they used to cut up over some of that. But I'm gonna leave it there. But yes, it was definitely taking me back to that. And I guess the thing is, it was very much a mixed bag for me, because I think the actual abuse of it obviously was shocking and intense and very, just very disorienting to see. But then, a part of me also thought, depending on your involvement, I don't know how bad I should feel, or just, if anything, even if it's not tested related, I'm like, depending on what you've done, I may not feel as bad. But then what I also thought about is is it a chicken or the egg situation? Are you trying all this and all the stuff you're doing? Is he like this in spite of this or because of this? I'm like, is he like this because of your treatment and how you've mishandled him as a parent? And how has that shaped his life then? Where are all these things coming from? And I think I think Mama, for all intents and purposes, I think she has her role to play in this as well, as far as how he is and what we see.
Well, here at for the most part, it at least looked like she wanted to protect her son. She's like, I'm fine, because she's whole tied up. He's tied her up and he's dancing, with the mop and everything. To me, it was giving like I gave her a whole backstory. Like, this time period, having children with any type of mental illness, father, he's something to leave. She's been raising this son all on her own, supporting herself and their family via this fish store, or the dad maybe passed away. And the beating is just a result of her son being something else mentally, and her just not knowing how to deal with it and not getting him proper help. And it's just like, oh, again, but it's like, yeah, he probably needs help. Even with him saying like, you should go get your parents, it's giving like, if somebody comes in here unsupervised, maybe even a child, don't interact with them. Make sure like maybe they've had incidents or something happened in the past where it was just like, oh, this looks like this, but it's not. But yeah, I swear I ain't trying to laugh at the towel scene, but Lord. Nikki.
Yeah, I felt the opposite. I think the fish store mama ain't ish. Because just because you don't want your son to get shot and killed don't mean you ain't abused him or did nothing crazy. Because what really pissed me off was her telling the cops that it was the black guy that killed that little girl. Now you know the time you living in. Why would you tell these cops that black guy was the one? You don't know what that black guy talked to that little girl, same as your son did. Her pointing the finger at him just really pissed me off. But I also agree with the fact that I don't think he's a villain. And just because you're a weirdo creep freak don't mean you killing people or doing anything terrible. You just, like to get your freak on with the fish. I don't know. But I will say, I think something may have like happened to him as a kid, been something traumatic. I don't know, but he's definitely weird. I don't think it's like a mental illness. I think something happened to him. And you know how like if something happens to people in childhood, they kind of keep like a adolescent kind of mind. That's what he gives me. That's how he feels to me. But when we talk about Maddie just letting a stranger in to her apartment when the journalist came, which I really like that actor playing the journalist. I hope we're going to see him more. But this is why I say I don't believe that Maddie planned her whole getaway. Maddie to me feels impulsive. Maddie to me feels like she don't have the sense God gave a duck. Like she just does things. Maddie gives me, she just does. Because why in God's name would you think you're going to report a ring missing and then what? They're going to give you a check in time to pay the rent? Like that she doesn't think. She doesn't think things through. And even, I forgot who on the panel said it, but even the fact that someone said they don't think she even thought of the ramifications of saying the ring was stolen. She doesn't think. That's why I don't think she planned anything. Any woman that's about to leave, they gonna have a little money hidden somewhere. Like they've been stacking something up to get out. Especially if every time he's sending you to go get lamb, baby, you just gonna get some and you're gonna pocket the rest of the lamb money because you're planning your exit. I think y'all giving Maddie too much credit. I don't think she's smart enough. I also feel like
she's slow, baby. She's slow.
She is. She don't have the sense God gave a duck. Like Lord Jesus, I can't with Maddie. But I also feel like when it comes to him being a villain, I'm really, really pointing a finger at the grandparents. But I also feel like when we're flashing back with things with Maddie, I'm not sure how much we can even trust the flashbacks. Like, is Maddie going to end up being like an unreliable narrator? Can we even buy everything that they're showing us in the past? But I didn't see the trailer, but when you just said that the fish store creep guy ends up asking her how she found the body, I'm interested to see how that goes, because will he have some kind of heart for the little girl? Does he care about what happened to the little girl?
He visioned her in this moment when they started shooting. He saw the little girl, so maybe.
And why would the cops shoot when it's a hostage right there? Like that ain't make sense to me. Don't you supposed to protect the hostage? Like that was weird.
Yeah, we have established Maddie ain't worth two damn flash smash, girl. She better do something productive next episode to go. You know what? I see it. because I don't see it. I don't see it right now at all.
And we keep getting into Maddie's behind, but her husband Milton is trash. Because why you ain't give your wife no money so she could damn live? Jesus.
No, because you need to come home. Okay, I'm not gonna play with you. I ain't giving you no money to go live a separate life, and they would offer some black getting it on. No man.
Now he don't know that.
No, you ain't. Absolutely not. Slipping into darkness, girl. Closer, like, no, I don't want to hear that. Don't you ever say that again. She been emancipated for all of 3 days. She couldn't wait to bust it open. Closer to Mr. Gordon. Slappy needs a slap or two, and Cleo is risking it all, and her husband is on stage telling jokes. Oh, the whole imagery of Cleo, well, first of all, I can understand the husband, like, Mr. Gordon ain't giving you something for nothing. What do you have to do for him? What are you guys planning? He, all chummy, he putting, nice blue coats on you. I'm not feeling the way this looks, but yes, sir, you don't get to say that. You ain't got no job. You don't have no job. But just worried about Cleo's safety getting closer to Mr. Gordon and what that really represents for her in their relationship. Like, this was extremely, extremely scary getting towards the end. Because I was like, I know we finna kill Cleo right now. Because that's what it was giving when we got here. I was with Nikki with the, like, this who you had to go roll up on Shirley Chisholm. But yeah, girl, run. Yeah, Slappy keeps it clean, and she's proud. Well, he semi keeps it clean. He doesn't, but the audience still finds it funny. But she goes to deliver this package, and of course, she's biting off more than she can chew and endangering her whole life, because it's not just about delivering the package. We are about to do a whole drive-by shooting. Ashley?
Yeah, this pissed me off. And, so after she is brutally rebuffed by Summers, she's like, then I got to go all in the streets. Mr. Gordon, I'll take on any extra work that you have, because I still need this bag. Whether one way or another, I have to get to the bag. And so he I need to know if I can trust you, Cleo. But here's what I'll say. I don't think Mr. Gordon was behind her necessarily delivering this message or this package. I honestly think because Reggie has a conversation with that light-skinned officer who basically tells him, they're looking for you, stay in the house, is the reason he sent Cleo. What tenured street man, right, Mr. Gordon, numbers runner, is going to send a novice woman with a family and children into a type of situation like that? Like, you know what I mean? I would lose respect for Mr. Gordon if he really was behind it. I think this was all Reggie. As far as this situation, Cleo, I mean, baby girl, don't step inside. He need to come to the door, because the moment you stepped inside and they put that chain on the door, I said, baby, this could go all the way bad. She made a couple attempts to escape, but baby, you locked in. I mean, all she could do was run. And I said, run, Forrest. Because at the end of the day, how y'all get point blank and still miss, that pissed me off. Because if we're going to do the job, and now I'm a witness, this freaking baby blue powder coat is noticeable. If anyone was outside, they're going to know I was there. Y'all set me up for the okie doke. I feel played, but I don't blame Mr. Gordon for this. I put the onus completely on Reggie for this dummy mission.
Yeah, I was saying that too, but I was like, who the hell is Reggie to do this and not anticipate some ramifications of you sent Cleo and what happened? Mr. Gordon's gonna roll up on you because you messing up money, you messing up deals, and she ain't even supposed to be there. She's supposed to be, doing the red books. This is not the red books. D.
Yeah, I thought it was just the way. I just thought the juxtaposition between the interaction that Cleo had with Gordon and then Reggie kind of saying like, oh, okay, well, almost like okay, now it's time to test you and let's go do, and I can't remember what it was she said, but it was something that basically he had said, and something about the interaction that also made me think like, okay, so are you going rogue and just kind of you doing your own, using Cleo to basically take on whatever mission this is? Because I felt like even with the whole situation of possibly taking Myrtle out, I'm just like, is this how you would go about doing that? So I just thought that was really odd. So I figured something in the buttermilk was not clean with that situation as well. and I don't think. And I don't think she really had any real survival instincts in that situation either. Because it's like, look, I don't know, I don't know anything about this. And then she is a woman. She's by herself. You ain't coming in this area with me. I just too many wrong moves.
I just felt like Cleo would be too smart to even go in there. I thought I was surprised that she went in. Nikki.
Yeah, I would have delivered that money like a drive-by shooting. I would have tossed that money into that apartment. I would not have. All I'm here to do, when people deliver DoorDash, they don't walk in the house. If you're just here to deliver something, there is no need to go into that. She was acting like Maddie here. She was acting like she ain't got no sense in this situation. Why in God's name? This is an envelope. I don't have no message to give you. And there's nothing that came along with this. I'm supposed to just deliver an envelope. But they were very much giving criminals for dummies. It just really makes no sense. Why would you have a Smurf drive the getaway car? Like, you're asking to be seen. You're asking for people. You're supposed to do stuff in a cloak of darkness, and you're supposed to do stuff where people can't really point you out. These people were so, you might as well let the bird go do the shooting.
You had a bird.
Stupid. And then I'm just like, I'm mad at Cleo because I feel like she had the conversation with Mr. Gordon, and I feel like Cleo ran up to here to deliver this money like she was trying to turn into Eve. She was about to get paw prints tatted on her chest. I'm like, baby, you work behind a bar and you add and you subtract. Why are you thinking you got the guts to do this? And none of this made sense. None, but I love the fact, I may not like that congresswoman, but baby, her husband came out there, bah, 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 bah. She got him. Don't marry me if you're not coming to the door busting off like you John Wick.
Please don't, because Slappy would never. Okay?
Would not.
Nah. Now they know she was not built for that life. They know she was not built for this life. This was just like somebody that know that their friends do bad things, but never seen their friends do bad things firsthand. And it's just like now seeing it up close and personal. It's just like, I don't know if these should be my friends. Like, it was cool when I didn't see it, but now that I know that I see it, I don't know if this relationship, friendship, work partnership is going to work after this, because that was way too much for her, especially for somebody trying to protect her own sons from this lifestyle. That was way too much for her. And I'm pretty sure she's now like, yeah, how do I get out of this? How do I separate from these people? Because they done put me in it.
It's too late. Like, I'm like, dude, I should hope that Mr. Gordon didn't do all this to test your loyalty, because he felt so content with the fact that she didn't, which he didn't know, she didn't follow through with the video or whatever, the this is how Miss Summer saved me PSA, because she didn't follow through with what she thought she was going to do for Cleo. But like, this would be pushing it, like, yeah, now I need you to go murk Miss Summers. What?
Right.
Excuse me? That was I just really felt some type of way with Cleo. But we can't leave off the episode. You could have had anybody. You could have had anybody, sir. With how intuitive Mr. Black is here, Mr. Platt, you would think he would know better than to, even the officer. This is clearly something he does on a regular, because his little partner was like, "Oh, you gonna go see about Miss Maddie, huh? You gonna go tell her we found it? Yeah, you always creeping off with the white women." Like, sir, even if it was this was I'm just not getting, like, I don't know, maybe I just don't get the attraction to Maddie. Nothing, towards Natalie Portman or anything, but I was like, it ain't giving what it's supposed to give for all this passion. But they're embarking on a relationship. And I think the question here is, what does this mean for this officer? Because whatever happens, Maddie's gonna be fine. I'm hoping we don't get to a cry grape situation. Because we don't know Maddie. We don't know Maddie. But we know what these circumstances could mean for an Officer Platt in this day and age. Ashley, where is this going?
Nowhere fast. Nowhere fast. Somebody gonna see him frequenting this apartment and is gonna say something. I don't know if Judith's gonna get jealous because she's not getting the cat. He's getting her cat. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it'll be jealousy. I believe my good sis Tremaine in the comments very early on said that the landlord himself might see them at some point. But what really pissed me off in the interaction isn't the YT black situation. That doesn't bother me because love who you want to love. There was just no passion. This was not hot at all. I ain't feel nothing tingled, no chills. I ain't get no kind of arousal. So I was like, hey,
they wanted it too, Ashley. They
come
was
on.
working. Like they so passionate, they ain't even took no clothes off. Just put your stuff through the hole. Ain't even gotta get naked.
That's that scoop. Never mind. I can't say that on here, but
insert here. It was insert.
Yeah,
here.
Move it over to the side, basically. But it didn't give sexy. It didn't give any of that. I didn't see the on-screen chemistry between these two. Maybe it's something that'll develop. But Natalie don't know what to do with him.
She don't. That's what I'm saying. This is Natty first rodeo around the block. I've never seen Natalie on screen with this many of us at once. So to just throw her in a thrust with a Daniel for Insecure with all his muscles, Daniel that was running through the first Purge projects, ma'am, she ain't ready for this. We need the anticipation and build up for this scene. D, what does this mean for her? For him?
Well, one thing I would definitely say, in the course of developing this very complicated relationship with Tyra, I have learned that her appreciation for scenes of a sexual nature are something. It's caused me to kind of look at things differently. So maybe, although it ain't my jam, maybe there is a certain way these things should be looking. You know what I'm saying? Because Tyra's made it very clear to me how these things need to go. And from that standpoint, I do agree. It wasn't given much of anything. Looked a little uncomfortable with me. I wasn't seeing the pleasure principle. Shout out to Janet. But yeah, I don't think this dynamic is good. And I just think that ultimately, what are the stakes for you? And how are you going to manage for this to not be a driving Miss Maddie type situation?
I hope he doesn't sacrifice any of himself for Maddie or trying to save Maddie, because clearly she's hiding something. I hope it's not that, and I hope don't nobody go and wreck the situation that I saw officer and we have officers feeling some type of way, like, oh, you didn't want me to walk you upstairs, but you let him come in here, asking please, or for Maddie's husband to be rolling up. I just don't have time for that. But yes, Steve, I want to see some smog or some backs. I want to see some abs, just adjacent of the butt crack. We don't have to show the same thing, just a stroke or two and cut away from the scene. Let us get some passion from Natalie, because it looked forced, honey. Nikki?
I think D got it right. It is definitely going to be a driving Miss Maddie setup. It's very much giving. He's going to be the sacrificial Negro. He's gonna get caught up because, like Tyra said, no matter what, Maddie gonna be just fine. And I will say, even with those jive ass sideburns, Daniel know he fine. And if you get a man like that, baby, strip him. If you get a man that look like that, you strip him. You don't keep clothes on with a man like Daniel. But I thought this scene was kind of comical because, sir, you're supposed to be walking your patrol. You don't have time for a beer. Like, I didn't understand how you could just dip on patrol to get a beer. But I disagree with the no passion. I think it's no passion on Maddie's side. But Officer Platt got stars in his eyes. When she was sipping that soda, he had like he never seen a woman drink a soda pop. Like, he was oogling this lady. He was looking at her like she walked on clouds. And I agree. I think it was Ashley who said, I disagree. I don't think this is just a regular old interracial, we like each other. I think it's a fetishization. I think she want a black mandingo and he got a thing with white women. That's what all of it is giving. She want to leave her little small Jewish man and she want a mandingo. Like,
small.
That's what it's giving. She's using him. She's a user. We know how Maddie works.
Okay.
As much as I enjoy Daniel, the only thing I could think is that she's gonna cry wolf with this, and that she's gonna take your boy out, and I'm gonna be really upset about it. The only thing I could think of was that, and especially because of the community that she's in and the status of her husband. As soon as somebody catch wind of that, the white tears are going to come out so that her reputation is not tarnished, and oh boy is going to be strung up or executed in some type of way. She is getting this black man in all types of trouble, and why he can't see it? Why he can't see this?
Well, clearly this is not his first rodeo with interracial, or I ain't gonna say relationship, but just embarking on sleeping with the white woman. I really feel like he sleeps
I'm
with
just scared for him.
because it really felt like he did have some type of attraction to Cleo, but it's like, Cleo's not interested in me. And Cleo, your man's up there. Like, I see where you're because he did say he enjoys the view when he rolls up there to the bar and whatnot. But it's like, yeah, I'm here for whoever's legs are open at after 6. I'm coming over. That's just what it was giving. That's what it was giving. But ending off the good old episode, where do we go from a drive-by shooting? Like, Cleo up in the B, because clearly these men, them buffoons, it was giving Fat Albert. It just, I was like, what is this? I thought he was in a bed. I was like, well, what are y'all doing in this car with this bird? It was a hot mess. But I don't know what the ramifications could be from that. But I do know, at least going into episode 3, Cleo, the mother of 2, is going to be trying to separate herself and take back everything she told Mr. Gordon. I want no parts of that. And as Miss Myrtle Summer said, nobody leaves Mr. Gordon unless he wants you to. And you know how you leave it. You leave it in a box. Ashley, what you expect in episode 3?
Well, I hope Reggie gets checked. I hope Mr. Gordon comes through and reassures Cleo that was not his intention. But I don't know if she's going to lay low. This picture has me feeling like she is sipping or doing something that Dora does. I don't like this look on Cleo. I don't like the darkness around the eyes. It makes me feel like she's high, and that makes me nervous. We don't need escapism at this moment. We need a plan. But then again, what's the point of the plan? Because we already know her end. You know what I'm saying? But I do hope we get to see her fully next episode, and I hope it just stays black. That's my biggest hope for episode 3, because I really don't know what else to expect.
Okay, what do you expect in episode 3?
Yeah, I definitely expect Cleo to kind of examine the choices of her life at this point. I would like to see what her man feels about this. Is she going to tell him, especially the way that she kind of raided into him? Is she going to say, I mean, yeah, you was right. It was everything you thought it was going to be. I want to see how shady Maddie really is. I want to see how low she is ready to stoop to get her external validations.
D?
Yeah, I know it's gonna be too soon, and it's not gonna be nearly as much as I want. But yeah, I'm ready for more of the Maddie expose, because clearly the past for her is far from squeaky clean, and I need to find out why. And as far as Cleo, unfortunately, I think she's going to keep slipping down that slippery slope that is this underworld, because that's how this goes. Start off one way, and then all of a sudden we're all the way over here. It's just like, yeah, that's the way it works. And we obviously know what the end game is, but obviously we need to see what else. Obviously things have to escalate for us to get to that point. And so I'm not happy about it, but I am intrigued to see, like, how does this continue to open up for her, and then this whole dynamic with Gordon, and then what happened with Myrtle? Were they successful? Were they not? Like, I just want to see, like, what the consequences of all this is going to be.
I want to know how long it's going to be before we actually lose Cleo. I want to know, because I was like, I don't think, because she is wearing that coat when she's tossed in there. I want to see, but I think it would be too soon. Nikki, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know the timeline of how long Cleo is in the show. Because when the episode ended in the frustrating way of just cutting off when Cleo is running for her life,
Anyway.
I was finna get pissed because I was like, don't tell me this how she died. Like, is she gonna be out here running loose and that's how whoever the killer is yoke her up? So I'm not even sure how far into the show she's gonna die. But I will say now this might be a far-fetched prediction, but I already said I feel like Maddie X family is tied to the goings on. And it felt suspicious for me the way the ex-boyfriend dodged her like a hot plate at the dang funeral. I'm feeling like, is he gonna randomly pop up at her apartment? Maddie knows something, and now she found where your daughter was. Like, I feel like, is he gonna start feeling like he need to know what she knows? But I feel like I don't think Officer Platt gonna get killed. I think he will lose his job. But I would like for episode 3 to introduce some Black characters that are not stereotypes. And I don't know why everybody feel like Platt had eyes for Cleo. It was just given, I'm a pretty guy and I flirt with women. I didn't think he liked her like that.
Maybe I was just looking at Daniel. Maybe I was just looking at Daniel. That's what it is. I can't wait to see. Like, I feel like so much is gonna unravel. What they've been able to fit into what don't even feel like our episodes. It's just really, really been great. The one review I did watch for this show, the guy was like, I felt like this should have been a separate series where we don't shove so much into the episodes and we strictly focus on Maddie's narrative, and then we switch it up later and focus on Cleo. Why are we intertwining them together? And I'm like, then we lose the whole point of what supposed to be represented in the story. Like, parallels, sir, parallels. But you guys have been absolutely wonderful. I am going to show you guys some love once again for staying here and supporting us. Do remember that Lady in the Lake drops on Friday, so we will be right back here Sunday night at the same time to talk about episode 3, and we will be here every Sunday moving forward to recap the episodes of this show. I will be right back, and the people will tell you what they have going on their channel and where you need to go and subscribe and find them.
And when we're making love, your cries, they can be heard from far and wide. It's only the two of us.
All right, I am going to come to the man of the hour first, D Movie Man, to let you guys know what videos he's released lately and just maybe what he has coming up on his channel. Go ahead, D.
Yes. Hey, everyone. This is D Movie Man, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. If you are familiar with those words, or if you're not familiar with those words, that is the summation of what I do over on my channel. I love discussing all things film. I love having the occasional analysis of trailers, theatrical trailers, of course, and also getting into some of these really solid television series out here. So if you are interested in any of that or all of that, please feel free to check me out over on my YouTube channel. I've recently been on a film festival run discussing films like Sing Sing and Thelma and The Idea of You. And I'm continuing on with Tribeca and some other film festivals as well. I also have recently discussed television series like Bridgerton Season 3, which was an experience, and Interview with the Vampire Season 2, which was far more satisfying experience overall. And I definitely plan on doing some recaps regarding this series as well. Just had to give it a couple of days. The joint is jumping at my job, but that will be up very, very soon. And you can expect more regarding film, television, and just some very special curated commentary from yours truly. Would love to have you.
Yes, absolutely. Y'all get over there and support D. D is this close to 2,000 subscribers. The quicker he gets there, the better. And I also see that he has a review up for Kill. I've heard nothing but good things about Kill, and he reminded me that I really need to watch that movie. I really, really need to watch that movie. But you guys, please be sure to go and support D. His link will be in the bottom with everybody else's in the chat. King Nikki TV with the stereotypes. I'm coming to you next. What you got going on, girl?
I might be a Southern Black stereotype. I don't know, but I am Nikki, and you can find me at King Nikki TV. I will be following this show weekly. I already have my video up on the first 2 episodes. If you would like to see more of my thoughts on Lady in the Water, I also have a Long Legs review coming, and I have a ton of content that I have already posted this week. I posted my top 10 worst movies of 2024 so far. I did Divorce in the Black with Tyra and the other ladies on the panel. If you guys haven't checked that out, I also have my KillerCon horror series that is every Saturday, 5 p.m. Central. Tyra and Kay are there with me. As well as I just did a video on the 20 best comedy movies of all time ranked. So make sure you check that out, as well as the only Tubi original movies worth your time. So if you want some action, some horror, some thriller, some TV shows, I got everything for you. No romance though. We don't get into romance on my channel.
Whole lot of content over here on Nikki's channel. I'm gonna double down on that Killer Con situation. I love how all us horror fans, we keep calling this show Lady in the Water. Lady in the Water. You guys please be there to support Nikki in all that she does, and especially on those Saturdays for the Killer Con horror conversations. We love it. It's Black folks talking horror. What's not to, and you know, some white folks, we diverse, but it's Black folks talking horror. You know what? What's not to love about that? Please go and support her in everything that she is trying to do. Kay over there with the books, because she read them. Go on and shout out your nerds, blurs, and all of that in between, and let them know what's happening on the 5th wall.
Oh yes, definitely. If mystery, suspense, horror, thriller, stuff like that, if that's your jam, come on and hit that subscribe button. Yes, I'm here for the nerd community. I'm here for the blurred community. Mondays we got House of Dragon. Tuesdays we got Interview with the Vampire. Saturdays we have Killer Con. I plan to drop a review for Long Legs and Oddity. Waiting to see those, but those will be coming really soon. You can find reviews for The Boys, Divorce in the Black, X-Men 97, A Quiet Place, The Watchers, Tarot, throwback horror, underrated horror. Just come on over there.
No, we did not do that. I just tried to get cute for a second. Don't do that, StreamYard.
Don't play on my channel.
Be sure to go over there and support Kay, please. Kay is like really, really close to hitting her 1,000 subscriber mark, and we want to celebrate Kay in that achievement in her journey. So please help my girl to get there. Last but not least, Ashley with I save her for the last because she always got the most to run down because she talk about it.
Don't do me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
People know what you got going on over there in that secret spreadsheet of yours. Go ahead, Ashley.
Y'all already know what it is. But first of all, I just want to say thank you to Tyra for hosting. This was a great live. And for everybody in the chat, and I know most of y'all stayed here for these whole 2 hours and 23 minutes. We appreciate you. We value you. We thank you so much. But as far as the channel, y'all, Unprisoned Season 2, my review will be up tomorrow. Y'all know my Lady in the Lake episode 1 and 2 reviews are already up on the channel. And my Serpent Queen episode 2 will be up tomorrow. And then Friday, Dirty Pop, the live is happening. Okay. I will be hosting, but Tyra, Kay, and King Nikki will be there. So come on through if you were into the boy bands back in the day and you just want to talk. I'm honestly going to chew this documentary up because I felt like they played in our face, but it's going to be a great conversation. Just hit the notification bell, y'all. Don't miss a thing. Stay on the community tab. Posting all the time.
I'm excited, y'all. I've been listening to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and Old Town in preparation. I ain't even watched the documentary when I get my Dirty Pop life on yesterday. Like, brought back memories, make you feel old. Can't wait to discuss all things Mr. Perlman and boy bands and all that good stuff Friday. You guys, please be on the lookout for horror